Russia launched one of its largest overnight aerial assaults on Ukraine in the recent weeks, striking multiple regions across the country and causing widespread destruction. Ukrainian authorities reported that at least 22 civilians were killed, including children, with dozens more injured as missile and drone attacks hit residential areas, energy infrastructure, and other civilian sites. And according to the Ukraine's Air Force and regional officials, Russia fired a combination of around 70 to 75 missiles and more than 650 drones in the overnight and following daytime attacks. Air defenses intercepted or suppressed the majority of incoming threats, but dozens still reached their targets. Strikes and debris were recorded in at least 38 locations nationwide, including Kyiv, Dnipro, and several others. In Kyiv, explosions shook the capital through the night and into the morning, damaging apartment buildings and civilian infrastructure across several districts, and at least 80 to 81 people were wounded in the city alone, according to the local officials. Emergency crews worked through the wreckage of destroyed homes, pulling survivors and victims from collapsed buildings. In one case, a 3-year-old child along with a woman and her 8-year-old son were recovered from rubble in Dnipro, where officials said 16 people were killed. Other cities also reported heavy casualties and damage, as in Kharkiv. At least 19 people were injured over the 2 days of strikes, and in total, Ukrainian officials said residential neighborhoods, hospitals, and energy facilities were among the hardest hit, leaving parts of several cities without power and causing widespread disruption. Russia's defense ministry said that the strikes targeted Ukraine's military industrial infrastructure across multiple regions, including Kyiv, Dnipro, Kharkiv, and several others. However, Ukrainian authorities strongly disrupted and disputed this characterization, saying that the attacks primarily hit civilian areas. The assault came amid intensified Russian aerial operations, including the use of advanced missiles such as the Oreshnik hypersonic ballistic system. Analysts say that Moscow has increased the scale and intensity of the drone and missile strikes in the recent weeks, attempting to overwhelm Ukraine's air defense system. Ukrainian officials, including President Volodymyr Zelensky, warned that the country's air defense capacity is under severe strain, particularly due to the shortages of Patriot interceptor missile supplied by the United States. Zelensky said that current resources are not sufficient to intercept large-scale missile barrages, leaving cities increasingly vulnerable. The situation is further complicated by global supply constraints, as Western stockpiles of interceptor missiles have been stretched by other conflicts. And as a result, Ukraine has struggled to fully replace or replenish its air defense system at a time when Russia is escalating its attacks. Russia's President Vladimir Putin signaled that Moscow would continue and intensify its military campaign, linking the escalation to the recent Ukrainian drone strikes in the Russian-controlled areas. He described those incidents as having changed the nature of the conflict and indicated that Russia would not scale back operations. And the overnight assault added to the growing international concern over the war's trajectory as it enters its 4th year with heavy civilian casualties, repeated strikes on infrastructure, and no clear progress towards peace negotiations. Residents across Ukraine described a night of continuous explosions, forced sheltering in basements and bathrooms, and widespread destruction as emergency crews continued search and rescue operations long after dawn. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Savera for more updates. Do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.